Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTO.
Okay, Google, turn office lights on.
WILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willies, your host, and I'm so sorry the lighting is bad. We are on generator power. Kingwood is a mess. Let me just tell you that we had that hurricane pass through as a Cat 1, but it had some very, very, very bad gusts. There's this big tree to the back of my house I watched all morning when those real heavy gusts came to make sure that, what can I say, doesn't work quite, doesn't fall on the house, or if it's fallen on the house, to get out of the way. It seems like the hurricane has passed rather quickly. I mean, it really came in with a vengeance to our part of Houston at probably around, I guess, 5 in the morning, got progressively worse. By noon, I think most of it was gone. But, you know, we're going to come live still, hurricane or no hurricane, as long as we have power, the internet. Doesn't matter that I lost 2 trees that broke and went into somewhere else as well. It doesn't matter that, you know, we're on generator power, but the air, even though it's supposed to run the air, somehow the generator keeps turning off when we get too much of the air on, which means it's kind of hot. But you know what? There are a lot of people going through things all over this country, and we have a stinking hurricane today. Yes, partially caused by global warming. I mean, hurricanes have always been there, but we know they're getting worse, coming earlier. They're more extensive because of what we're doing and what we refuse to do to mitigate it. So we live with the hurricane and all that it's going to cost. I got to leave to Baltimore on Wednesday. Got to try to make sure and leave this place livable for the wife and kid as we clean up from the hurricane. So anyhow, welcome aboard Stuygen Creek. Welcome, or did I say that right? Stuygen Creek. If I say it incorrectly, please correct me. Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. Stuygen, I don't know where you're from. Tell us where you're from, Stuygen, please. May Wood from Long Beach, California. We have Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. I think I got it. And we have Bridge MCP from where again? Binghamton, New York. That's upstate New York. We have the one and only Michael Rudnick, AVQ, from Brooklyn, New York. We also have, let's see who else is in the house. Bear with me, guys, because, you know, look, I'm completely unprepared for the show today. I always make sure to have something for you, but I had to get a whole lot of stuff going, including keeping that generator from shutting off and on, so that we could have some power to bring you a program and keep folks happy. Anyway, Michael Rudnick from Al Jazeera. The cumulative effects of Israel's war on Gaza could mean the true death toll could reach about 186,000 people, according to a study published in the journal Lancet. According to Gaza's Ministry of Health, more than 38,000 Palestinians have been directly killed since Israel launched its military offensive in October 7th. In the wake of deadly Hamas attacks, the study pointed out that the death toll is higher because the official death toll does not take into account thousands of dead buried under the rubble and indirect deaths due to disease and destruction of health facilities, food distribution systems, and other public infrastructure. I think this is a shameful episode of American diplomacy. I just have to say it. It is shameful that we allowed Israel. Israel has every right to defend itself, and so does Palestine. So does Gaza. They're all people, human beings, and it's shameful. It is shameful that we put so little onto the lives of those people, and we indirectly are supporting it via the war criminal called Benjamin Netanyahu. All right, the land said in recent conflicts, such indirect debts range from 3 to 15 times the number of direct debts, applying a conservative estimate of 4 indirect debts per one direct death in 37,396 deaths reported. It's not implausible to estimate that up to 186,000 or even more deaths could be attributed to the current conflict in Gaza. Using the 2022 Gaza Strip population estimate at 2,375,259, that would be an estimate of 7 to 9% of the total population in Gaza. Brookings Institute, in addition to the obvious horrors of tens of thousands of casualties, mostly women and children. Mostly women and children. Sorry, I got a text that I had to look into. According to United Nations estimates, the scale of devastation of homes and infrastructure is daunting. Regardless of who comes to govern the territory, Gaza has become uninhabitable, which is exactly what Israel wanted. That's what Netanyahu wanted. He wanted them to throw their hands up in the air and say, we can't live here. Bye-bye. They better not do it. Gaza has become uninhabitable and nearly its entire population has been displaced. By some UN estimates, it could take 14 years just to clear the rubble and about 80 years to rebuild Gaza to its pre-war state. And Biden should pay for, not Biden, Israel should pay for that. And that $3 billion that we're given by Israel every year should be redirected to rebuilding the damage they created in Gaza. That's what it should be doing. Brother Redden wants this on the screen. It says the following: MAGA, what do you think is Israel's primary goal in Gaza? Make Gaza uninhabitable so as to force Palestinians out. That's what 57% of scholars believe. Destroy Hamas, 15%, to keep the Israeli government in power, 15%. Sustain occupation of Gaza and its population, 6%. Deter attacks by its enemies, 3%. Other, 2%. I don't know, 1%. But I think it's safe to say it is just another form of genocide. That's all it is, no less. Genocide. If you don't believe it, shame on you. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I think you got more than one. What else do you have here? American interest. Let's put that one on the screen as well. Middle East scholars see Biden's response to the war as having negative implications. How do you assess the implications of Biden's response to the war in Israel and Gaza of the following? Negative, 79%. That's to be expected. It should be 100%. American standing in the world, negative. Yes, it should be as well. How can the greatest democracy, the country purporting to be the greatest democracy, support the indiscriminate slaughter of innocent civilians, irrespective of saying, oh, Hamas is using them as human shields? I think I've gone through that exercise with you before. If a mall had 10,000 Americans in that mall, and there were 100 terrorists blocking acts that are behind those 10,000 Americans, think which police chief would be able to keep his job or even not be criminally convicted if he sent his police force in there, mow down 5,000 of those 10,000 to reach that 100 people, that 100 terrorists. It would never happen. But you see, there are a lot of times we have tunnel vision or we see through colored glasses. Some people's humanity are valued more so than others. We better get over it because it costs us, and it costs us dearly. I think we should reassess our stances. Anyhow, continuing. Thank you for those, Redden. I can't put the other one up right now. But anyhow, let's continue the program. Let's see what else we got here from Melanie Keelan. Melanie says, happy hurricane, everybody. AVQ says, hurricane or what's left of a tropical storm. Yeah, it's zooming out of Texas, but it did a lot of damage. A friend came over to the house today because he lost power on the southwest side, on the northwest side of Houston, and I called him up to check. I called up a lot of people, including those of you in the PDR posse who I had your numbers. I sent you texts to check up on, make sure that you were all okay. I'm talking about the Texans that were in the vicinity of the hurricane. I looked them up on my list, and I sent a text verifying you're okay. I got a response from Roberto. Well, Roberto came over. Norman, also from Alistair Waters. I didn't have the information from. I sent a text over as well to brother. Come on, give us a lot. Our right wing brother. I sent messages to him to make sure that he was okay as well. So that is what we do here. This is a family, as you all know. I like to consider the PDR posse family, and when things are out of whack, we try to find out and keep in touch. Also, I checked up on Ray. Ray said he was okay, just a few leaks. Norman got was using solar power and some backup power. Al is supposed to be coming over likely this afternoon. So we keep in touch with everybody when we have these storms. Those that are in our vicinity, that is. If it's a storm in New York, of course I'll check up on Bridge MCP like I did during the heat wave, etc. Make sure everybody's fine. All right, let's see what else we got here. We have another one from Michael. It says, AP, tropical storm Beryl unleashed heavy rains and powerful winds along the Texas coast, knocking out power to more than 2 million homes, mine one of them. Flooding streets with fast rising waters. The first responders. My wife was driving Roberto through the maze of Kingwood to get around the trees, and guess what they found out? Kingwood areas flooded. The street to the airport flooded, so they found a way around. We have a DJ that needs to get back to Baltimore. He came down here for a Panamanian festival that we were having on Saturday. He came to DJ. The hurricane blew in earlier than expected, blew us everything out, wet up his equipment. Now he can't get back to Baltimore to his job. Things happen. Anyhow, so yes, she's driving around trying to find ways to get here. All right. So yes, Beryl had already cut a deadly path through Mexico and the Caribbean before making its turn, sweeping ashore Cat 1 in Texas. It later weakened into a tropical storm. At least 2 people were killed. It's more than that now. There are 2 people here in Kingwood, I believe, who the tree fell into their homes, killed them. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. And I just got a call that says Kingwood is in bad shape. We have a lot of trees, and the trees are just scattered. We only have 4 ways to get out of Kingwood, and the trees are all over the place, given a difficult path to get out. But we're doing it. Anyhow, continuing. Let's see what else. WAPO, Hurricane Beryl strengthened in our Atlantic, earliest Category 5 storm. Yeah, global warming. One event doesn't say that, but many do. Steigenberg is from Portland, Oregon. I am from Concord, California, but you live in Portland. I love Portland. I went to Portland. What is it? The Columbia River that goes through? I love Portland. It's a beautiful city. I like the coffee out in town. It's sort of a peppy kind of a city. I love it. Beautiful city. Let's see what else we got here. Bridge MCP said Israel's relentless West Bank land grab imperils 2-state solution amid Gaza war. Israel is to get embarked on the largest single annexation of Palestinian land to date by seizing territory in the Jordan Valley. It's a shame, and we support it. Paul Fleming says, wait a minute. So the same dude who said he never had sex with Stormy Daniels now says he doesn't know anything about Project 2025? Got it. Everybody knows Project 25 is his doing. Everybody knows that. All right. British MCP said, amid renewed diplomatic efforts to end the conflict in Gaza and prevent it from spreading to Lebanon, Israel has accelerated annexation of land in the occupied West Bank to kill off any remaining prospect of an independent Palestinian state. Last week, Israel announced it would annex a total of 12 square kilometers in the Jordan Valley, the largest single annexation of Palestinian land since it seized the West Bank from Georgia during 1967 Six-Day War with an Arab coalition. It also unveiled plans to build 5,300 new homes for Israel settlers in the West Bank, which Jordan gave up its claim to provide space for the independent Palestinian state envisaged under the U.S.-sponsored 1990 Oslo Accords that in the decades of hostility. And I mean, do you see, if you are the Palestinians, let's say somebody came into the United States and tried to annex some piece of land. Are they going to fight for it? This is sort of mob as far as a country type mentality that we're looking at here. That is shameful. All right. Paul Fleming says the Coors family, Beer, the Walton families, the Exxon family have contributed to the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025. I guess there is money to be made by destroying the country. Well, they're destroying the country because country means nothing to them. These are international residents. Things go south here, they move somewhere else. Billy James TT said, Trump, I know nothing about Project 25. His name is in there 312 times. For a screen example, Egberto, let's go ahead and put that up. All right, that's why I so love my posse, because my posse always have information. And here's that information. Trump, I don't even know 2025. Trump with his director of White House personnel and architect of Project 2025, John McAtee. I guess he does know. Oh, why isn't that on the screen? Let's go. There you go. There it is. All right. Steigen Bergen Grieg, that 80-year rebuild estimate seems exaggerated. Europe after World War II was rebuilt in 10 years. And guess what? They had cooperation from whom again? The United States. Look, if the United States really wanted a true Palestinian state and wanted to mitigate the utter evil genocide and destruction done by Netanyahu in Gaza, we could rebuild that place in 1 year, but we don't have the will to do so. Remember, we have a different standard of humanity based on who you are and what's your hue. Once we realize that that's who we still are, maybe those of us who are progressive will get more traction to tell people, please acknowledge your humanity. Please acknowledge your humanity. All right, continuing, we have para ver, ¿qué más tengo aquí? Paul Fleming says, when you stroll down the grocery store aisle, nearly everything you see is made by a handful of big corporations. During the pandemic, those companies jacked up prices, but because of lack of competition, they've continued to keep them high. And it's hurting every American. As I stated several times, this is not inflation. This is greedflation. This is corporate greed. It's not the inflation rate, it's the corporate greed rate. And every corporation that has raised prices are responsible for stealing your money. It's not Biden. It's not Biden that is doing this, but if Biden and other folks try to mitigate the problem by saying, you will not charge that, they start to call you a socialist, communist, and all the other names. For which I would say, if that's what it takes to prevent corporations from stealing from America, then that is what you have brought onto America. That's what I would say. Let's be clear here. Biden has nothing to do with inflation. Now, Donald Trump does have something to do with inflation because he did raise tariffs, which Biden seems to want to follow. He better not quite let that take effect, because then a part of the inflation coming from higher prices from China will be his doing. But when Donald Trump raised prices, I mean, that stuff on China, who you think pay that tariff? The corporations don't pay the tariff. China doesn't pay the tariff. But if it's a product you want, you're going to buy it at that higher price and say, oh, it's inflation. It's not. It's done by Donald Trump. When you saw that supply chain problem that says, oh, because we have a shortage, that's inflation. No, That was the ineptitude of corporations. They're the ones who design exporting our manufacturing overseas, which means pandemics and hurricanes and all of that would have an effect on the supply chain. And because they decided to go with just-in-time inventory, which means they keep a smaller supply of inventory in the country, it means that any time there's a pandemic, a hurricane, or anything, there will be a supply chain problem. And who pays for that? We do. But whose fault it is? The corporation's fault. But they increase our prices above and beyond that, the price of supply chain issues, and then pocket the profits and go tell their shareholders, look at what we executives have done for you. We made you a lot of money. How did you make that? We screwed the American people, but you made a lot of money. And they abstract the evil from the shareholder. So you may own a piece of Exxon, you may own a piece of Walmart, you may own a piece of HEB or Kroger or whatever. You don't know that you are complicit in screwing your fellow citizen, because corporations abstract and capitalism abstract evil from the evil doer. Think about it. The abstraction of evil means you blame the wrong person. And that's why you see us blame Biden for the inflation. It's not Biden. It's the corporation and how they're run. You remember when gas prices were up? There was no shortage of gasoline. There was no shortage of petroleum. In fact, right during the pandemic, there was an oversupply of petroleum that they were paying people to take the petroleum. And then suddenly, they had to pay people to take the petroleum, so they're going to make up for the screw-ups that they made. And who pays for that screw-up? You got it. You do. And then you go elect a person like Donald Trump, who is a part of the same cabal who does those things. People, wise up. Wise to hell up. That's the only survival for not the country, but for your own pocketbook. You don't have to like Biden. You don't have to like Kamala Harris, whoever is going to be the nominee, whether Biden or Kamala. But you better vote Democratic. You better vote for that ticket. Because and by the way, for those of my peeps who listening in Appalachia, don't fall for the crap. They're trying to bring in racial crap. Don't fall for it. You're on our team, Appalachia. You are on our team. When they screw you, when they screw, they're doing most to you. Your level of living is much worse than in any major metropolitan area that they get you to kind of demise. Remember that. 50% of many of you are on the programs that this brother wants to cut. Because he's not, and while Biden is supporting creating new businesses in your parts of the world, remember most of the act, the Inflation Reduction Act that creates a lot of businesses, most of that went to where? Red states. Where is Appalachia? A bunch of red states. Education is what it's all about, people. Educate yourself. Don't fall for what some would call the okie doke. Please, remember. Steigenberg Greek says, I just read Project 25 a bit. It is terrifying. I am frightened we're distracted by disputes about Biden. Read their plan, please. And we're going to do a good job of putting that out, my dear, beautiful Steigenberg Creek. By the way, that's a different kind of name. Can I ask, I know you're in Portland, Oregon. Forgive my ignorance. Is Steigen a male name or a female name? I don't know. Please let me know. Because it sounds like a Scandinavian name. Do I get that right as well or not? Okay. All right, let's see. Carl Cox says Trump is code for born again liar. I agree. Paul Fleming says pastor who used illegal donations from churches to campaign for office is fined $3,500 fines issued to Scott Beard of Abilene's Fontaine Fellowship, and two pastors follow reported from ProPublica and the Texas Tribune that revealed the churches donated to his campaign for local office despite state and federal prohibition. They think they can do whatever they want. That's what they think. They can do whatever they want. We got to stop that. All right, Paul Fleming, the RNC plans to strategically conceal Trump's and the GOP's abortion views. As polling indicates, nearly 2/3 of voters in swing states support abortion rights in all or most circumstances. And what we must do is make sure that never happens. Egberto, rebuilding Gaza in 1 year, even if we put the entirety of our military and corporate power structure towards effort, probably wouldn't be able to do. I keep saying Gaza is a rubble pile. They've been hit so often, the rubble bounce. I shouldn't have laughed, but I hear you. But the truth of the matter is, Gaza is a very small place in the aggregate. And by the way, first of all, we don't have the will to do it, so it wouldn't be done. If we ever had the will to, it would. Michael says socialism is what they always call it when government acts for the benefits of the people. That's true. Bridge MCP says, remember peeps, watch Bad Fate and also God and Country. Scary stuff, but we'll explain why and how we are where we are, including MAGA peeps on their lives. Hey, Bridge, can you send me via either text or instant message those two links if you don't mind? Because this stuff is going to go away. I just know that. All right, our poet laureate has a limerick that I must read, and it goes as follows. And by the way, Tom, I don't know if you saw that you were the star. Let me pull it up here. By the way, people, I tell you, there are a lot of times when we have our Ask Egberto anything that we get new stars, right? Not new stars. He's no longer a new star. He's a star, period. Brother, guess what? Tom, I just had a brain freeze. I couldn't remember your name was Tom. What's wrong with me? Did I get a Biden moment? All right. Tom was the subject of my latest Substack. All right. And I'm looking it up right now. Tom was the subject of my latest Substack newsletter. And I want to go ahead and give you guys I think I already, I love it. I love it. I want you guys to go ahead and check out Tom's Substack. I mean, I wrote it, but Tom was a star. That is a Substack. I better get me a better. That's not the right one. Let me go ahead and do it the right way. Forget that I put that. Can I delete that? I don't think I can. That is the stats of the thing. I need to view the post. Here we go. Forget that link exists. This is actually Tom's piece that I did. And what I think I'm going to do before I read his new limerick, because we have time and I don't really have a show for the hurricane, what I'm going to do is I am going to play Tom's limerick. I'm glad you're here, Tom, because I knew there was something that I needed to do today that I forgot to do, which was to tell everybody that at our Ask Egberto anything this weekend, which was not very well attended this weekend, but as usual, we got some good info from Brother Tom Zarnick. So here we go with Brother Zarnick. The first Saturday of every month, the Politics Done Right posse, the people who listen to Politics Done Right, both on air and online, we generally have a Zoom meetup where many of us discuss, everybody who listens to the show gets a chance to say whatever the hell they want to say. And there was, today was a small meetup, but there was a prescient prose that one of our supporters recited. He wrote, and he said, and it's amazing because it kind of is counterintuitive. He said, those of us who are progressives, those of us who are the liberal ones of today, believe it or not, we are the conservatives that are maintaining the good that this country has been moving towards. I want you to listen to this and then we'll take it on the other side.
Okay, this is something I've been thinking about. I didn't write a limerick for this, but the word conservative. I keep hearing that word conservative. The conservatives are saying this, and the liberals are saying this. I think we all need to be conservatives, and I think right now, actually, the way things are trending, I think the Democrats are more conservative than the Republicans because we're trying to conserve liberty. We're trying to conserve civil rights, the rule of law, privacy, competitive capitalism, affordable health care, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, fair wages and working conditions, voting rights, victims of gun violence, fair taxation, a multiracial cultural society, the benefits of immigration, scientific facts, the wall between church and state, free and fair elections, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, peace and justice for all, etc., environment and the planet, so and democracy above all. But I mean, we all need to be on that bandwagon. Republicans and Democrats, we all need to think, what can we conserve in our country that's great? And if it's not being conserved, what can we do to conserve it? What can we do to save our country from all these other problems that we're having? So think about, I would hope we could think about that.
Tom Zornick, he's who I call the politics done right poet laureate because he comes out with limericks several times a week, and we will recite these limericks, which are always very, very good. But this statement is insightful, and I suggest if you have some conservative friends, let them listen to this, because in reality, this is something they should agree with. Absolutely. So Tom, of course, is in the house today. And Tom, I trust you're still in the house. Just give me a, hey, yeah, I'm still here, because I'm going to read your limerick in a minute or so. I love having Tom in our Ask Egberto sessions because he always has something prescient to say. Normally, we also have Eric Hayes. Eric Hayes is one of our regulars that come in there, and Eric Hayes is a different Eric Hayes in our chat than he, or in our face to face than he generally is in the chat. But always enjoyable. Anyhow, let me check it out for you now. Tom, 2 extended limericks based on current events. So here we go. In life and in love, you win some, you lose some. But Biden's debate performance was truly gruesome. While Trump was bold, Biden looked weak and old. What to do now? Who's to nominate? Who could dominate the next debate? Should it be Bernie Sanders or Gavin Newsom? Wouldn't Harris and Buttigieg be an awesome twosome? Scrutus rules in favor of the radical far right. For a government run by thieves and criminal ring. If Trump is reelected, as by the MAGA crowd expected, he will be a president with immunity, disregarding the Constitution with impunity, and rule the country all alone from a golden throne as king. Wow, that was more than an extended limerick. That was the perfect poem, brother Zornick. Love it. But then you know that. You know that. We always love your stuff. Anyway, Michael Radden says Biden wants to bring broadband internet access to every American, including those in rural areas. That single shift will bring a whole lot of jobs and other economic opportunities to rural people. Think about this. If folks in rural in every corner has internet access, something that conservatives don't like. They want the market to dictate whether those people in the rural areas, if it's marketably, if it makes market sense for the cable providers to give them access to the internet. That's why they like that. The post office, to hell with the post office. We want to be able to ship stuff and charge what it is rate. Something costs 60-something cents to send, whether you're sending it to Alaska or to Hawaii or to Texas, anywhere. Because we understand there are certain things that belong in the commons that keep us together, right? And the same should be for the internet. The same should be for utilities. A person shouldn't have to pay more for electricity in rural areas because capitalism said it is harder to maintain electricity in rural areas. The same applies to internet. There are certain things that should be inalienable rights in a country. And that's what progressives stand for. And that is what every conservative rural person who votes for those clowns, that is what you're voting against your interests. Now think about that person who really loves rural life. They love it. And what are they? They're a poet. And they write poems, and internet access would allow them to create their own, have a life, right? Create their poetry and create a family, a posse around them that supports their talent. That is what the internet brings. The internet allows somebody that grows tomatoes to go ahead and bottle their tomatoes and have access all over the world via the internet. There is so much power in having certain parts of our infrastructure in the social domain, in the commons, because it helps so many. Things that capitalists don't believe in because those things are simply not profitable under the capitalist domain. Folks, when I tell you it's on us, yeah, the fight is right now. Should Biden stay on the ticket or not? It doesn't look, I want somebody younger, but I really don't care. I am voting Democrat top to bottom, not because I am a fanatic or a sycophant for Democrats. I am voting that way because within that particular domain, we can get the policies passed that rural America, urban America, exurbs, suburbs, everybody has equal access to success. Think about it. Think about it. I want you guys to really get off all of our butts and go out and talk to our MAGA buddies. And I know some of you think you hate MAGA buddies or your MAGA folks. But you know what? You know what? I have engaged a lot of people. I really have. And other than those glory, glory, hallelujah, crazy MAGA folks that actually, I honestly think they have an IQ issue. You know, I always talk about most of us have a basic level of intelligence, but some people their minds are structurally deficient. I hate to put it that way, but their minds are structurally deficient. You're not going to get to them. They only respond to, kill, be kill, force. And I don't mean kill in gun, but, force, no force. That's all they respond to. But anyway, continuing. Michael says, confusing the difference between conservation and being a conservative. Well, actually, conservative come from conserving what's been, conserving things. That's supposed to be the whole mantra, not just the belief of not abortion. All this abortion crap came about later on, right? We have to be practical about all this stuff, okay? All right, but I get exactly what you're saying, Brother Radnin. And I think within that statement, you nailed it, right? Conservation, conservative. We talk about that another time. Paul Fleming, I watched the John Deere Classic hosting a golf tournament with $8 million purse. At the same time, they're laying off 600 workers. Yeah. Again, that's capitalism for you. All right, if conserving the commons for future generations is a concern, you might as well be a green. Yeah. You're absolutely right. And I understand the dichotomy there. Green, Democrats are not, how should I put this? All Democrats are not Greens, but I think all Greens should be Democrats. Oh, wait, is that how I go? All Democrats are not Greens, which even though they should, but I think at this point in our history, all Greens must be Democrats. Here in Michigan, awaiting the effects of Hurricane Beryl. I don't know if you're going to get it too badly because it's kind of moving to the northeast, as I recall. All right, Michael says, Biden lost my vote during the debate. I recognize that Trump is a horror unto the country. who, if given power, would mean the end of our nation. That said, we face an election between an incoherent mumbler and a liar focused on revenge. Between the two, the liar wins. Then the horror begins. Joe Biden needs to choose his successor before the Democratic convention so that everyone who's not MAGA cultists can see what's truly at stake. I'm not going to even answer that, Brother Michael, because I know exactly where you're coming from. And I think they need to stop making the crap that somehow this is not, well, anyway, we'll talk about that another. Representative Jasmine for U.S., Jasmine Crockett, who I've interviewed several times. I don't have time to play games. We need to know what's at stake. In Texas, we have a state legislature that wants to institute the death penalty for women and abortions. I need to know that Democrats will have control of the House, Senate, and the White House. If we don't, Republicans are going to try and institute a nationwide abortion ban. We're going to do better, and we have got to focus on the prize. I saw when she gave that interview, I think that's the one she did with Ali Velshi. And in fact, I think I had taped that one. But I hear you, and I hear you clearly, Paul Fleming. I also hear Rudnin, and I think it's time for a change. And I think deep inside of your heart, and tell me if I'm misunderstanding this, Paul, you understand that if we can make a change that would be effective, somebody that can fight fight Trump toe to toe. In other words, what we saw in the debate wasn't a bad debate. Biden just doesn't have that fight to go ahead and hit things at fast pace anymore. Nothing on Biden. Biden was a great president. He saved the country. He brought in more liberal policies than anybody else. I got a message from a judge recently that says, I want you to see this thread. And she was absolutely right about what she said and the thread. But we have to be smart. We have to be smart. All right, breaking news. This is from Paul Fleming. Governor Newsom spoke on Biden's campaign check-in call. He's in New Hampshire today, was in Michigan and Pennsylvania campaigning for Biden over the weekend. Every single event we had, every single stop we had, we exceeded expectation in terms of number of people that showed up. They're not given into the cynicism, that they're not given into the fear. They're not given into the anxiety. They're showing up because they care. They care the work in doing. They care about this president. Newsom said, I agree. I care about this president. I don't agree with his Gaza policy, but I care about this president. I care about this president because he has been not the most progressive, but he has gotten the most progressive policies passed. I agree with all of that, folks. Biden is 81. You see how he walks. You see how he talks. You see this all. I think look, nobody should take away anything from this man's accomplishment in every aspect of his presidency, except for, of course, Gaza. Even made some pragmatic decisions with LPNG, etc. But I also don't want us to become Biden sycophants. At 81, showing some of what he has shown thus far. This man could get a mini stroke at any time. Let's be honest. Read Michael Moore's piece. I love it because he shows the love that Biden deserves, but he also is very pragmatic in what he's saying. And again, let me just say, in Biden's fight to hold this stuff on, he didn't lose a few points from me when he said something like, if I lose to Trump, which on this trajectory he will, because it's not about the Democratic base. It's about the entire country. If he says, if I gave it my all and I lose the election, well, I would have given it my all. I wouldn't feel bad at all. That's some privilege, folks. That is some damn privilege. I would have liked to hear, Stephanopoulos, the interview wasn't any good on either part. But when he said, If we can prove to you that those people who love you but are dropping you because they feel you're not all there, if we can show you that that has an effect on winning or losing, will you consider dropping out? Only the God Almighty will get me to drop out. What the hell kind of answer is that? That the answer there was simple. You know what? If it is proven that people are, even though I know I can do the job, if it is proven that I just can't win, giving it my all, then I must pass the torch. It's not about me, it's about the country. That's not difficult. That's not a difficult answer. And that's not an answer saying I'm quitting. That's an answer saying if enough people can show me that the masses want something else, and by the way, 70% of the masses say yes, that's what they want. So coming and having a campaign rally with 1,000 people, look, Donald Trump brought 10,000 people, 15,000 people, 20,000 people and lost every single time. He lost in 2016 and he lost in 2020. In 2016, he lost by 3 million votes. In 2020, he lost by 7 million votes. So having big crowds and exciting crowds doesn't talk about winning. So let's be clear, folks, and let's be clear-headed. All right. Michael Radnes says, Egberto, the only time I talk to a maggot is to educate others who would read the conversation to shift their alt-right talking points. And that's fine, Michael. I'll continue to talk to everybody, but that's fine. I tell people they don't have to do this. Egberto, please read this so you understand. Most Greens dislike the Democratic Party, most due to corporate corruption unleashed by Citizens United. Greens would only vote for anti-corruption candidates who focus on infrastructure instrument, social welfare, and environmental issues. What would previously be called good governance, Greens hate to vote for what they see as lesser evil. That last statement is actually a statement, a losing statement, but I get it. You know, the person who ran for president for the Greens Party, every single time they've been friends of mine, including David Cobb. David Cobb and I break bread all of the times, and he ran as a presidential candidate for the Green Party. And the woman who ran the Native American who won a few years ago as well. I speak to all these people at the Democracy Convention or else place, love them all, but while they can live in the green or die, I have too many people who are a part of our family that can't live within the green or die. But I get it, Radnan. I get it. Peggy Lopez is in the house. How are you doing, beautiful? Do you still have that pink hair? If you change colors, send me a picture so we can show all our audience the great kind of folk that we have as part of our PDR posse. Michael Radnes says, Egberto. Oh, I read that already. All right, Peggy Lopez says, vote suppression is a right-wing thing. Ask Biden and step aside for asking Biden to step aside for the Americans who voted him in to run again cannot be suppressed. Okay, let me just say something about the people who voted for Biden. There are 14 million people that decided to participate into a primary where there's over 100,000 Democrats or somewhere around there. For 100 million Democrats, I mean. And we've got, 14 million. So I understand, yeah, he got 87% of the people who vote. The truth of the matter is people didn't have a choice. I love to hear when Biden also says we had choices, people had choices, etc. No, they asked a lot of people not to run. And the person that is really coming out and telling you that straight out is Joaquin Castro. He come out and said, look, I've been talking out of that. They ran me out of the race. They ran me out of the race. We have been talking about this for a long time. So when you say the race was a real democratic race, it was not. A lot of people were pretty much forced not to get into the race. There were all kinds of games that were played. People, the third-party groups that help politicians were told, if you go up against an incumbent, we will not fund you. I mean, there's a whole lot of things like that going on. So let's be honest. It wasn't an open primary. That's a lie, a verifiable lie. Look, if Biden was on the up and I really thought Biden was on the win, I would even consider saying, yeah, maybe we should look at Kamala Harris. I would not be there. I am for 100% winning in November. I just have a problem thinking that we are on a winning path right now, and the landslide path is still there. Let's take advantage of it. All right, Brice MCP, Egberto, I sent you this. Don't you think it might explain New York Times saying this about Biden? Why aren't they not questioning Trump's talking lies? They should. Some have. Not the Trump lies should be a standard statement, but it also should be that all the pundits and Democrats not only talk about Trump lies. Let's give an example. I watched the press conference. I watched the debate, the people that are supporting Biden, right, and those that are supporting Trump. And when they ask the Trump supporters, why did Trump do this? Did he lie? Well, Trump could have used better words, but Biden, the economy that Biden is pretty much a lie because Biden says X, Y, Z. They flip it on Biden, right? Instead, when Democrats go to defend Biden, this is how they defend him. Yeah, we know Biden should not have done that. I understand that. Gaza, da da da. No. When I am defending Biden, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I disagree with Biden on Gaza, but Biden was the absolute best for policies that helped America. And then I shift from Biden and I go immediately to Donald Trump. But to think that people who say they love America, to think that people who say they're moral, to think that the religious folks that believe that Jesus Christ wants to support us all, I would have to tell them, how could you possibly support the man that has raped women, the man that has grabbed women by their you-know-what, the man that have stolen from you, the man that many of the people that in your pew have been stolen from as they built up his Mar-a-Lago and all these other places? That is a lie. Why aren't you media talking about that day in and day out? Why are you allowing those who support Trump to get by with saying it is okay to harm Americans? But they don't do it. Biden doesn't do it. Biden supporters don't do it. The unpaid Democratic supporters, Egberto Willies with Politics Done Right and the PDR posse, we are doing that. Breach just did it. Breach says, why aren't they pointing out these things about Donald Trump? Well, if you don't have your posse doing it in and out, the Republican posse is doing it every day. They convert every option they get on national TV to promote that message. We don't. Listen to a Democrat defending Biden. Listen to a Democrat defending Harris, and you get what I'm talking about. Paul Fleming says, Jennifer Rubin, why haven't I written a get out Biden or stay in Biden? I don't have the hubris to think I know best. The notion of likely the Trump one option. Biden fights tough and calms. He is neither. Jennifer Rubin, you're all over the place. Jennifer is all over the place. I did a piece on her a few weeks ago. All right. Michael says, Greens not voting for a lesser evil, voting for the greater good is a moral standard that the Greens would not cross, even if it resulted in a loss. If you try to push a Green on this, you'd lose their vote. If you want a Green vote, focus on the issue that matter. But again, in Earth number one, a lot of the people who make up the Green Party, they have the option that losing is not important. That losing and saying I was right is good enough. I don't have that option. There are a lot of people don't have that option. And it's with a lot of hubris that I love. Look, I would be a Green too, but I break rank where it says I must always take this position because it's the right position. Peggy Lopez says, I've been voting for about 65 years and I've always voted for the lesser of two evils. Thank you. But you are always have some in your head. That's very right. Peggy Lopez says, Biden has proven he can beat Trump. Anyone else would lose to Trump. I don't agree with that one, though, my dear sister. Lee Grant says Kamala will have a hard time getting over the Willie Brown thing. I doubt it. If Donald Trump can get over the grab by the you know what thing, she can get over the Willie Brown thing. Not difficult at all. That she was. I'm not even going to give it any notion. But I mean, Donald Trump will try to do it. I would use the Willie Brown things to open the door on really hitting Donald Trump on being a rapist. I would really do that. So let him bring Willie Brown up, and that opens the door for raping women. Let him do it. Please do it. Michael Rudness says, let's see what else I got here. My God, don't care about Trump lies. They either ignore. That is very true. Can't finish because we're up on time. We're at 4 o'clock. We're at 4 o'clock. Okay, guys, I'm going to take 1 minute. I am heading off to Baltimore on Wednesday morning. I don't think I'll be able to have a show on Wednesday, but you know, I hate not having shows, right? I'll try my best to do one. If I think I can't have one, I'll probably try to have a tape show. I got a lot to do in the next 2 days. Plus, I got to go cut down a tree that fell in the backyard, a whole lot of stuff to do. But again, you guys know that I want to do what I must do to keep our program going, keep you on, keep what we do doing. I want to ask all of you right now to please support the program. I got to come and ask for support for the Baltimore trip sometime later. I can't do it right now. I just went ahead and threw the hotel on my credit card, but I need to be made whole. Things are, well, you guys know where we're at, right? But here's what I'm asking you. Please support the program by becoming a paid subscriber of our newsletter. Please support the program by becoming a paid subscriber. Just go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Did I put that right? Yeah. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Yes, Duck That Quacks, welcome. I'm going to be a lumberjack in a few minutes because I can't leave that thing hanging over the neighbor's fence. So I'm going to chop that down and go ahead and get that done. E2247, love you. Thank you for being here. Look, guys, again, here we go. Please support the program. There are two ways I'm asking you for your support right now. Either go ahead and become a patron by going to politicsdoneright.com/patron. Patron is spelled Patreon. Patreon. Again, I repeat, politicsdoneright.com/patron, spell Patreon. And here it is, the link to get there. The other option is to please become a paid subscriber of our newsletter. You can do that by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Please become a paid subscriber. It is expensive to do what we're doing here. And it is something that we've got to do, and we have to ramp it up. I'm going to be putting out a hell of a lot more videos, etc., to populate the internet. We are going to win in a landslide. We are going to get our act together, and we are going to do it. We are going to get to some of our MAGA brothers and sisters. We are going to get those independents out to vote. We are going to get those people that never vote registered and voting. The path has been laid by the Republicans to give the Democrats a landslide because the policies that we support are going to come to fruition. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.